Good morning, family. You are tuned into the Dr. Christie K Morning Show right here on KGGR 1040 AM. I'm your host, Dr. Christie K, and I am thrilled you're here with me today. Now, listen, I really want you all to lean in today. So grab your favorite beverage, your journal, and get ready to capture the gems that are about to be dropped. You never know when a single note could change your life. This broadcast is brought to you by Mansfield Funeral Home and Cremations, where we honor every family, every time with dignity and respect. Whether you've experienced a loss or you're ready to plan with peace of mind, give us a call at 817-453-3009. Again, that's 817-453-3009. We're always here to walk alongside you. Today's guest is someone who doesn't just inspire, she ignites. She's a force in business, leadership, and personal transformation. The legendary Gloria Mayfield Banks is here with us today, and we're diving into how to create a quantum leap. Her signature message is clear: where leaders become legends. And before we get to Gloria, let's go to God in prayer.
Mm.
Father, we thank you for this day, for the opportunity to learn and grow, and for the courage to step boldly into the future you've designed just for us. Your word in Ephesians 3:20 reminds us that you are able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we ask or think. So today, Lord, expand our vision. Open our hearts to hear what you're speaking through this conversation. Bless Gloria Mayfield Banks as she pours into us, and bless every listener with the courage to take that leap. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Man.
Gloria, welcome to the show.
Oh my goodness. Now, starting with prayer, I didn't know it, but I love it. Absolutely. That's awesome. I'm so excited to be here with you, Christy. Seriously.
Thank you. I love you so much. I know you travel so much. I know that your books are full of blessing people worldwide, and I am honored to have you on the show. Let me say that. Now, I know when people think about the title of the show, like what is quantum leap? So could you start off by telling us what does a quantum leap mean to you personally, and why does that message matter in the world we're living in today?
Ooh, Christy, that's a big question because it's a deep question because it really doesn't matter to me. I think that a lot of us work, and then we step one little bit at a time when we know in our mind, in our sights, we see much bigger for ourselves. But there's something that
Mm,
stops people from going deep, little to make it another leap and another leap. And when we do that little, it causes frustration to set in, and it steals
yes.
some of our confidence. Where when we get to another level, it's my ardent belief that when you get to another level, you see more. And when you see more, you can climb more. So a quantum leap is required because change is required. And when change is required, so that you create a quantum leap, you don't have to go deep, little at a time with a level of frustration that holds you back, but you can soar because passion has pushed you past the place where you currently sit.
I love that because I hear so many times about people checking boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And you set your goals. So they say, write the vision, make it plain. And so when we are following that word
Mm-hmm.
and we are writing the vision, we're making it plain, people feel like you have to go according step by step by step by step. When actually what you're saying, it's okay to see the entirety of the vision
Mm-hmm.
and just make the leap, right?
Yeah, but I do say that, I love Dr. Martin Luther King's statement, which says, stop focusing on the staircase and focus on the next step. So I don't
Mhm.
take anything away from that, but the speed at which you take those steps, the speed at which you take those steps is what's critical. I don't know that you can overskip the steps, but you can certainly take the steps much faster and much stronger and learn from that experience because your confidence sits in.
I love that. I've been reading a book called The Science of Scaling
Mm,
by Benjamin Hardy. And
yeah.
I highly recommend it, not just for entrepreneurs or founders of nonprofits, but for just people living your everyday lives. Because in the book, he talks about the importance of 10x versus 2x.
Mm,
10x 10x meaning multiplying your steps
mhm,
and your
mhm.
mindset
Right.
and your goals by 10x.
Right.
Because if you elongate your goals for too long, you're going to find so many feelers along the way that could keep you off your path. Do you agree with
Yeah.
what Benjamin Hardy's saying?
Yeah, they're called distractions in my world. They're distractions, and we
Mhm.
really believe they're important. It's not that we don't get distracted by things that we don't think are important. We think they're important at the time, and that's why that clarity is so important because that distraction will take your attention away. You'll be glad that you handled it, but then you wake up and you're so removed from the goal you initially had or the one that initially got you started with it. So he's absolutely right. That's why when we see things in front of us, we know we could go faster, but we get so paused by life. And life
Yeah.
is always, this new term, life is life, and life is always life. And I think one of the things that happens is women and men who get to a level of wisdom understand that that distraction is going to be there on Tuesday, and it's going to come back on Thursday. It's going to be there in October. Then it's going to show up in December. It's always, but that goal and that deadline is the gift. The gift
Yes.
is it makes you push towards that thing because that deadline is the only deadline. October 31st is only coming right now, and you got to hit it right now.
I love that. And I follow you on all the social media platforms. I'm
Thank
so
you.
proud. Yes, I'm so
Thank you.
proud of the comments that I read about the lives that you are changing and the
Mm,
transformations that people are experiencing because of you living authentically.
mm,
I love that about you. And I
mm.
love that about your platform. One phrase I've heard you say is where leaders become legends. What does it really take for someone to move from being a good leader to a legendary one?
Okay, because I've made that transformation myself and I've helped so many other people become that as well, it is critical for people to understand the responsibility of leadership. Sometimes you step into leadership because it helps you achieve the things you wanted to achieve. You step into leadership because you know that is a skill or an art or a talent that God gave you, and so you want to make sure you affect other people. But when you turn
Mhm.
it into a legend, it is because you feel such a hard responsibility that when you're absent, I always tell people the true sign of a champion is how their people act when they're no longer in the space. So a legend is someone who gives other people the skills to brighten themselves, to show themselves, to be authentically true to themselves and go after what they're doing because they know the responsibility. And right now, I feel such a sense of urgency for the responsibility of leaders to step hard so that when they step hard, when they're not in the room, everybody still feels their presence. We all know leaders like that. I always tell people the lights don't come on until you step into the room. If you believe that to be true, then what you're going to offer to people is uniquely yours and impactfully present to the things that need to be handled right now. Leadership is critical.
Yes, it is. It is critical. Um, I love that. And I'm sitting here thinking about the beginning of my journey as an entrepreneur
Right.
transitioning into a business owner, because to me there is a difference,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and finding myself working so, and I can't even use the word diligent, I was just working hard.
Right.
I had the staff, but I was working hard. I was doing their job, my job,
Right.
because I
Right.
literally thought that if I wasn't in the mix
Mm,
that things wouldn't go right,
right. Mm,
until I realized God placed these people in your life so that they could help you do the work as you go forward and plow forward
right.
in the kingdom of God
Mm,
to effect change elsewhere.
right.
And
Exactly.
so, yeah, and so once I realized that, that's when I began to make my quantum leaps. I could
Mm,
not make the leaps staying here behind the
Mhm.
desk,
Mhm.
nitpicking
Right.
at my COO, who's an
Yes.
amazing person, but
Mhm.
not allowing her to operate in the gifts that God provided for her.
Exactly, exactly. You know what? It's something to be learned. Entrepreneurs, leaders learn this, that the more you control, the less you will grow. And if you
Mm.
continue to control people, you have snatched from them their talents. You then reduce their talents because you can't reveal for yourself or for them where they're strong or where they're weak because you did so much of the work yourself. When you do the work, you automatically perceive it to be the best that it can be done. But that's not always the case. If you don't surround yourself with people who do better work or who can show you what they can do, and they can't show you what they can do if you're so busy controlling what they do. It makes such a big difference.
Can that same mindset be translated into our households as spouses, as parents, as caretakers? And if
Yes.
so, walk us through that so those who are not business owners can
Mm.
then apply that to their everyday lives.
Well, I love what you said about the family because we all know, whether you're a parent or not, you do know that the more you do for your child, the less likely they are to learn how to do it for themselves. And again, when you're not in this space, like I remember my son being in junior high school, and a parent called me and she said, Gloria, oh my gosh, Chauncey does such a great job. When he finishes eating at the table, he puts his plate in the sink and he helps. I'm like, who? Who you talking about? My kid? Well, the truth of it is, he knew what to do. He may not do it when I'm in this space, but he knew
Mhm.
what to do. And so that handles in all areas. I was with my house manager the other day, and she said, Gloria, until I was in your space, I didn't know there was anything such like a house manager. I didn't know people of your caliber needed people to come in and help them in their house so that you could do more of what you do. And I keep telling people, when you get to the level where you can hire other people, it is such a huge blessing to them. Number one, of course, the income that they can make. But number two, the energy and the vision that they get from you that they can then create something better for themselves. She starts dreaming bigger. She starts making things happen. And the reason I show that so much on social media is because other people, I talk to women all the time who get overwhelmed because they don't understand the value of help. And whether that help is at home or whether that help is in their profession, it matters dramatically. And it doesn't have to be you have to take all this help at the same time. You and I know you take some help, and then as you grow, you get some more help. And then as that grows, you get some more help. But it really does make a difference if somebody wants to have a quantum leap. It will not happen if you have an S on your chest that says Superwoman and you're not the Superwoman.
And you're not the superwoman.
You're not.
I get it. And some of our listeners look successful on the
Mm-hmm.
outside, but inside they feel unfulfilled.
Yes.
As a coach, as a mindset coach,
Mm-hmm.
and as a motivational speaker, what shift do you think that they need to make to unlock their next level?
If I had to point to two things, one would be confidence and one would be passion. And
Mm,
when we're talking about what you're talking about in terms of unlocking something that's there that they know is there, if they want to increase their belief that they can attain it, I always ask people to go back to your passion. We all will operate in two phases. We're operating the phase of professionalism, and we can operate in the phase of passion.
mhm.
When you operate in the phase of professionalism, you show up, you do a great job. Everything's going great. You're doing it. And like you said, they look smooth and fabulous on the outside, but they're pedaling underneath the water. That's great. But it's only really great if you're pedaling in the water, getting to the location where you want to go. When you're driven by your passion, it's very few things that will stop you. Very few things that will stop you when you're operating in a passion. When people tell you you can't, you don't even, it doesn't ping with you. When you're acting professional and someone says you can't do it, you really stop and you think about it. Well, could I? Blah, blah. But you operate in a passion and they say, I don't think you can do it. You're like, oh, I didn't even ask you what you thought. It doesn't really
Mm.
matter what you thought. I know I'm going to do it. And it takes you through your fear. It takes you through your doubt. It forces you to become courageous, and only in the courage can you build the confidence. that stands strong to support your passion.
Only in the courage.
Mhm.
Only in the
Only
courage.
in the courage.
Courage is can be scary
Yeah,
because if you would agree if you agree with me,
yeah,
courage takes you out of your comfort zone.
exactly.
It
Exactly.
potentially can isolate you,
Yes,
and
it
it will.
absolutely does. It
Yes,
absolutely do. It will absolutely isolate you. But here's what is that strange title of the comfort zone. Nobody is comfortable in the comfort zone.
mm,
They don't have to operate. They don't have to do things that they're not used to doing, but they really struggle with a level of frustration. They know that God really gave them some gifts that they're choosing not to use because it's a little uncomfortable. But when you say quantum leap, it only happens when you choose to fall in love with being uncomfortable. I choose to fall in love with being uncomfortable. When people say, Gloria, how do you take the stage? I say, I'm still nervous when I take the stage. I don't care
yes,
if I'm taking the stage in front of 500, 5,000, or 10,000 people, which I've done all of those things. But, I will say to myself when I get ready to take the mic, in 30 minutes, this is going to be over. In an hour and a half, this is all going to be over. Whatever you say to yourself to cause the courage to show up. Because if you're waiting for the comfort to show up, you'll be waiting forever on the seat waiting to go out on stage, and you never get to the stage because you didn't have the courage.
because you didn't have the courage. So as the listeners are thinking about what courage for them looks like, because it looks differently for
Mm,
everybody,
mm-hmm,
let's highlight the importance of creating habits, right?
mm-hmm.
So, what daily routines, disciplines, or mindset shifts do you consider to be a non negotiable for creating that true quantum leap?
Okay, so if I talk about the daily habits,
Mhm.
after I am crystal clear that I'm passionate and I'm crystal clear about a goal that fuels my soul, it's the getting up in the morning and not wasting the time. It's managing how much time is on TV and on social media, and how do I cut it to the place where where it serves me. It is a discipline of making the list, because if you don't make the list, you're always thinking about what you should do, but you're not doing what you need to do. So it's the list, and it's in the list that you delegate. So
Mhm.
my list is really important to me. The habit of eating the right foods. I eat wrong food sometimes, but I'm thinking about the fact, like, I will take a bag of chips. If I find myself eating some chips, I will take two or three out of them and I'll pour water over the rest of them, because I don't necessarily trust myself not to go back and put that bag. But I will do things like that. So those kind of habits that make a difference. It really does make a difference what you put into your mind. Whether you, because you go to YouTube, you get to decide what you're going to put into your mind on YouTube. You get to decide what type of audio books you're going to listen to. You get to decide if you listen to a negative person. Let me say this to you. There have been so many times when people have called me out because I get off the phone with them. I say, you're being
Mhm.
negative, and I can't put that in my space right now, because what I'm getting ready to do, I have to believe in my ability to do it. And I have to believe that those things that are inconvenient to me right now, or in my way, or things I disagree with, are not the things that necessarily stop me. They're boulders, but they're not a wall.
Boulders and not a wall. So
Mm-hmm.
so let's dive into that a little bit further about boulders versus walls,
Mhm.
please.
Yeah, a boulder is something that you can get around, you can get over, you can even sort of get under. But a wall, if it's high enough, like a wall, you can do that too. But if a wall is really, really high, you can't get around some of those things that are. And I can give you an example. For me,
Mhm.
I was in domestic violence for 10 years. I was married to a person when my when I started at Harvard Business School. I had a black guy. And I took this optimistic attitude that people see, and I tell people all the time, things that are your gifts sometimes can be your biggest challenge. So I just
Mhm.
kept believing I could fix the situation. I kept believing the situation was going to stop. I kept believing, I can fix things, blah, blah, blah. But that was something I thought I could get over. But God was the one who woke me up in the middle of the night, and He said, if you don't get out of there, this is going to happen to your daughter. Now, I tell people very loudly, I'm smart, I'm professional, I'm hardworking. Da, 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 da. However, I was not courageous enough to leave for myself, but I was courageous enough to leave for my kids. That was something that was really hard to get over, to get around mentally, physically, emotionally. But
Yeah.
that last month in September, I celebrated 29 years married with my husband now, and it is a example to a lot of people because domestic violence affects so many people. And the challenge with it is that it's silent. It's a silent killer. But if you talk about it enough and you become courageous enough and the confidence comes up and you can talk about your story after you've been through the story, you can change a lot of people's lives because of it. So it was a boulder, was it a wall? All I knew is I had to get through it. And a lot of people have to face the things they have to deal with in order to move fast, in order to have a quantum leap.
Wow. Thank you for that transparency. I can feel right now that somebody's mindset has been shifted.
Hope so.
Their hearts have been unlocked to see you being authentically yourself and telling us about that experience, because you could literally just walk around being the fabulous person that you've always
Mm,
been and never tell their story, but to tell their story to someone, for someone to be able to say, I can do it too,
right,
speaks volumes.
right.
Gloria Mayfield Banks, I love saying your full name. For someone listening right now who's ready
Mm,
to take bold action,
yeah.
but doesn't really know where to start,
Mm,
what's the very first practical step that they should take today? And as you're giving us that step, I want you to take just a few moments
mhm.
to speak to everyone from your heart.
Okay. Well, the first thing I want to say is I came up with the icon system because I really do believe that when you have these components as a leader, it's going to increase your influence, increase your impact, and increase your income. So that is understanding what you're called to do in terms of influencing. What is the clarity that is needed? Take ownership of what it is, the responsibility. Learn the strategy that's in for navigating, and therefore you will create a legacy. And so I really do believe the very first thing they need to do is have a clear understanding of where they want to go and understand that that clarity that they might have today will change. It is not in cement. It is what they need today and not necessarily for the rest of life. What I needed when I was leaving my first husband with a 1 year old and a 2 year old that were 13 months apart, that's what I needed to create my vision for today. But it changed over time. I didn't have time to sit in there and wonder why I was in that circumstance. I had to figure out how I was going to get out of that circumstance. And the second thing I want to tell people is that really honestly, today more than ever, you guys, let's just be really clear. We are called to give our best because for our best right now in this season when we're challenged for many reasons that I don't need to go into right now, we have to be our best for ourselves, and therefore we're the best for our family, and therefore we're the best for our community. I invite people to follow me on social media because I really do want to get in their face and in their place so they can shift now and they don't get caught up in the conversation of the struggle, but they get caught up in the conversation of the possibilities and what they're going to be able to do. I think something like this that you're doing, Candace, matters. When we're doing all these other things we're doing, what are you feeding in your mind? It's people like yourself who are chosen to distribute the information that could cause people to change the direction of their dreams. I can't tell people how important dreaming is because we get so caught up in our reality that you continue to create your reality. And so you have to dream bigger in order to change your reality to get to a different platform so that you can serve other people in a bigger way. Your influence matters. Your impact matters. And your income matters. And not enough people are talking about the income, but the income matters. Not for the material things that you can buy, but because your income decides your security, it decides the kind of food you eat, it decides the kind of people you have. It is the cause of reducing your stress.
Family, Gloria has reminded us today that creating a quantum leap is not just about working harder, it's about thinking bigger, living bolder, and stepping fully into the calling God has placed on your life. Philippians 3:13 through 14 says, "Forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus." Let me ask you this. What have you been holding on that is keeping you from leaping forward? Is it fear? Is it comfort? Is it the memory of the past failure? And what would your life look like if you decided right now, today, to release it and reach toward the future God has waiting for you? This week, I want you to make notes and I want you to feel comfortable with letting us know. Send Gloria Mayfield Banks a message. Get on her calendar for her coaching. Follow her on social media so that you can see all of the motivational things that she's doing. And then look at her calendar and see when she's going to be in your city. Buy a ticket and support because she is here to authentically serve our communities. Family, your leap is not just for you. It's for the legacy that you're building, the people you're called to influence, and the purpose you've created to fulfill. It's time to move from good to legendary. Gloria, thank you for joining us and blessing us with your energy, your wisdom, and your heart. And family, don't let this conversation just sit in your journal. Like, share, and subscribe so that you can catch the replay on YouTube. And I am so honored to say that we look forward to seeing you next week at the same time at 9:30 on KGGR because we are here to serve and to feed your souls. Until next time, God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Family, thank you for tuning in to the Dr. Christie K Morning Show. I pray today's conversation blessed you and gave you something powerful to write in your journal. If it spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Go ahead and like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe so you never miss another episode. And remember, at Mansfield Funeral Home and Cremations, we are here to serve you and your family with excellence and compassion. Call us anytime at 817-453-3009. Again, that's 817-453-3009 for pre-planning or support during a loss. Until next time, keep sipping on your favorite beverage, keep writing in that journal, and remember, leave well so you can leave well. God bless you.